This is going to be a time lapse of the making of the game Gnome Smash. I was the sole developer, and when I lost my job, I had lots of free time, obviously, and I poured that into making a game. This was like the fourth or fifth prototype I'd done, and yeah, I got the thumbs up from some friends who said it was a good idea. Some described it as a cross between Angry Birds and Breakout, both of which were hit games in their time. And so my friend and I decided to start developing it. I didn't have her on board at that time. This is the prototype I was sending to some friends to get feedback. I was just sort of saying upside down bowling, didn't have the gnomes at the stage. I'm just working on the game mechanic of throwing. No knocking down at the moment. So I sent it to some friends and they said, that looks like a good idea. So I went one step further and I made them knock down the little blocks. And you can see at this point in time how much work we had to put into the graphics, the physics engine rather, to make the gnomes fall smoothly. They're just flying, those blocks are flying everywhere. At this stage, I just went and asked my graphic designer friend, would she please draw graphics for games, because blocks just aren't that exciting. So she said yes. After I sent her this prototype, I just went and got some random graphics off the internet, and I said, conceptually, could you remake this work? I just had some gnomes, and I had a crazy pumpkin, and the pumpkin's really zany and looks like it's kind of drunk and happy. And the game mechanic here you can see is really bad. There's a bit of a bug there with two pumpkins flying around, and eventually I will get one of these pumpkins to land on the platform, and they just smash everywhere. They are falling at this stage, which isn't so bad. This was a big problem with us. The pumpkin would land on the platform and just stay up there and annihilate them all and take ages to fall down. So we tried to fix that a little bit by just making it disappear when it hit. That got some bad reviews. You can see the gnomes are actually falling. We don't have parachutes yet. So we're working with the game mechanic at that point, trying to make sure that the pumpkin and the gnomes are smoothly interacting. This is a little bit better. Pumpkin's spinning. My graphic designer did a fantastic job with that. Lands on the platform and comes off. You notice the platform's smooth at the moment. We end up making a boot, which has slopes on it, which makes it come off easier. Eventually we added the concept of the bee, and you collect tools, which get you a bee, which allows you to slam the gnomes. That was the macro level decision of what the gameplay should do. So you had some idea of a reward for being successful, and it changed the game slightly. Good idea in game design, wasn't very well implemented in this game because it's not that well tied in. You collect tools, gives you a tulip, which leads you to the bee. Another issue here was we ended up having an arrow. We took that out. It's kind of a bit contentious whether that is or is not a good idea. It does make it a little bit easier. The gnomes are here got a few taunts. It was really important for the gnomes to have taunts. It seemed to add a lot of interaction to the game. And this is what it finally ended up looking like, which you saw at the start. So the gnomes duck. People were finding them a bit static before. They needed more interaction while you're throwing the pumpkin. They go flying everywhere. I think it gives it quite a nice effect. You see the remnants of the slug snail idea, which you saw in some of the development. Probably didn't end up tying into the macro level that well. We've had people legitimately ask why are the snails there. This was because originally I sort of viewed it a bit more like a pinball game, and scores in general are really outdated. A way of showing progress of using a score is not considered the way to do things these days. So, like, I'm turning it into more, you count the levels and you count the throws, and that's getting better feedback. You can see the gnomes smoothly falling off there with their parachute. I think it looks quite good. That took a lot of work. You'll see the shape of the boot was gone from being a flat platform to something like a triangle. It's an asymmetric shape. It actually makes it slightly more difficult to throw around. It's a subtle thing, and the people playing probably don't realize it, but it does add a bit of difficulty to the game. The game's considered probably overly hard. You can see that we've done some work with the level design, so each level's unique now, and it presents a different challenge. We took out a lot of text. This is probably a slightly older version, but we took out a lot of text because people were just saying there's too much text on the screen, and with the smaller devices, too much on the screen just gets overwhelming. So yeah, so that should show you the progression of the game. I took it from a concept of just blocks flying around, getting knocked down, to adding a bit of a story, trying to tie it together at a macro level. So the basic premise now is you throw a pumpkin, you knock down gnomes, you collect tools as you go. The tools allow you to grow a flower, which attracts a bee, which allows you to knock down more gnomes, and it cycles. That tries to mimic some games where you add a macro level tactic that you get rewarded with as you go along. Probably not so great in this game. At the end of the day, I'm quite happy how it turned out. It was, I think, it's the fifth game I've made, and it's proven not too bad. I hope you enjoyed that.